Okay, you guys, this video is so long overdue. I'm gonna be talking about my first trimester while carrying my twins. And honestly, I have a lot of things to say because I didn't think it would be like this. And you know, the crazy thing about pregnancy and thinking about it now, I'm like, nothing happened, you know? But when I look at my notes, I'm like, okay, no, things definitely happen. It's just the brain likes to forget. And we're gonna go through it because whew, there's a lot of things to say about that. So the first 4 weeks of pregnancy, it's like you're not really pregnant, and then you have implantation and everything else. So if you want to go see what happened throughout this, I did another video saying how I got pregnant with my twins. So it's going to be like in the corner over there, so you can go check out that video. But everything starts from the 5th week. The first thing that I notice, and that's the first thing that you're probably going to notice when you're pregnant, depending if it's twins or with a singleton, it is your breasts. So you're gonna have some breast tenderness and breast pain. And that's what I started to notice on week 5, that they were tender and they felt pretty much heavier. And by week 8 to 12, which is towards the end of the first trimester, my breasts were like 25% bigger. And they felt so hard and so painful some days that I wasn't even able to touch them, which is kind of crazy. A lot of the bras that I had, especially sports bras, they didn't fit me anymore. The second thing, you guys, that you probably noticed if you were pregnant or if you want to get pregnant, you're gonna have some digestive issues. That is for sure 100%. It might be light, it might be heavy, but you're gonna have some for sure. Okay, so TMI, too much information, but since we're girls, we have to say the real things. And I'm telling you everything that you need to know. Like, we're open over here. So constipation, I was already a constipation girl, okay? I had a lot of hard time to go to the bathroom, but since getting pregnant, especially with my twins, it was just so hard to go to the bathroom. And it started pretty much at 5 weeks. My stools were like pebbles, okay? I know, TMI, you guys. I was trying not to strain, but then it was just really hard because I just didn't want it to stay there. So straining a little bit, it was really uncomfortable. It was frustrating. But then I was reading, you know, online because I really didn't want to take like supplements to help me go to the bathroom. So I started getting prune juice and also coconut water, which helped tremendously, you guys. And I noticed that if I stopped the coconut water, because I thought I was fine, you know, I was like, oh, you know, like now I'm not constipated anymore. No, you have to continuously drink it. If not, it's gonna go south and you're gonna be stuck with constipation again. One thing that I noticed, sometimes I have this without being pregnant, okay, so, but it is incredibly scary when you're pregnant because you don't know what's going on. So I had what is called colon spasm, and it's when your intestines and your colon starts to hurt and it's like contracting a lot. At first I was thinking like, oh my God, am I gonna lose my babies? You know, because it's like, it's so painful, excruciating. And I was like on the toilet for literally like almost 2 hours. And it's like, and I'm like sitting, it's hurting. I'm like folding myself in half. I'm breathing heavy. I'm having cold sweats and everything. And it was just like an IBS type of thing. And then it ended up in diarrhea, which is, oh my God, you guys, this is just, at least it came out. At least it came out. That's all I'm going to say, because being uncomfortable like this is not okay. All right, so let's talk about bloating, because bloating did happen to me, but it started more around week 7. But the bloating was definitely really, really uncomfortable, especially when I was constipated. Sometimes, you know, if I stopped the coconut water or whatever, and then I was stuck and I wasn't able to go to the bathroom, I felt kind of like pain in my abdomen, but I kind of knew that it was air stuck in there. And let's talk about nausea and food aversions. So I was really, really lucky, you guys. And I know you guys might not believe me, but I did not have any nausea whatsoever. I did not have morning sickness. I did not have all of these things. So I was really, really lucky in that area. But I did have one food aversion that started at 6 weeks. And it was kind of like on and off. It wasn't all the time. So the only thing that gave me food aversion was eggs. And it surprised me. But it wasn't just like really, really cooked eggs. It was like if they were too wet, like if you put cheese on it. So like the texture was just grossing me out. Like I would just put it in my mouth and I was like feeling a little bit like that. but I was still able to swallow it. But one time I did swallow it, and then I ended up in the bathroom. I threw up the eggs. And then I was like, okay, I'm gonna wait some 5 minutes and I'm gonna try eating the rest of my eggs because it's good for me. It's good for the babies. I had to like eat something, you know what I mean? So I did ingest the eggs and I was fine. So it was like on and off, which was really weird. I think it happened like 2 or 3 times. I was like always scared, like, okay, am I gonna throw up today or am I gonna be okay? So, but I was still eating eggs every single day, even though I was like kind of on the fence about it. And talking about food cravings, I didn't have that much food cravings. I was craving like crab dinner. I love crab dinner. It's so good. And I was craving, which is weird. I was like, oh my God, this is gonna be so good. And you guys have to try this out because it is just so delicious. It is a toast. So it was white bread with peanut butter, but the natural one, with cheese or cottage cheese or like old cheese. Oh my God, it's so delicious. It's so delicious, you guys, that I still eat it to this day. So that's how good I think it is. And you have to try this out. Peanut butter, nuts, nut butters with cheese. It is so delicious. And then you add like jam on top. Strawberry jam. It's so good, you guys. You have to try this out. I also had like tomato soup cravings and a bunch of all of these things. But overall, that's my food cravings and all around it. It wasn't that bad, to be honest. And I was able to eat pretty much very well, except I think around week 10 and 11, I had a big decrease in appetite and I wasn't really able to eat as much, but I wasn't nauseous or anything. It's just like, I just couldn't look at food. I just didn't want to eat it because it was like, ugh, I was eating so much food all the time to try to eat as much as possible. Well, not too much there for my babies that I didn't know because I didn't know I was carrying twins at that time to grow. So I was just eating very well. I was trying to eat a lot of foods and my supplements and everything. It was just it was too much. It was too much. All right, so we're going towards the abdominal and pelvic pain. This area can be quite scary, especially for your first pregnancy. I didn't think I would have that in the first trimester, and it is so scary, you guys. So the cramps started around week 5, a little bit before, because you know you have implantation cramps, and then it keeps going, and it's like slight pulling cramps. It wasn't too much, it wasn't really painful, and a lot of the times I had cramps, like a stabbing pain on only one side, so that was probably like around ligament pain type of stuff happening even in the first trimester. Since I was carrying twins, it was like my uterus was growing really, really quickly. For the round ligament pain, okay, so I had this starting at 6 weeks around. It was really, really light on one side only. The worst though was literally at 12 weeks. It was so painful. Like I was laying in bed in the morning. I kind of moved and then it gave me such a painful round ligament pain to the point where I couldn't move anymore. And I ended up sweating like crazy. And I was like, and it was like so painful. I thought something was happening and I was so scared. And I think that that's what I was telling you guys, that the fear of the pain is actually worse than the pain itself. But since I was so scared of the pain at what was happening, it was making it worse. I was sweating, cold sweats, I was shaking, and then I was like, breathing heavy, shortness of breath. It was like absolutely crazy. And it went away after a while when I started to like, okay, I'm gonna breathe out and try to relax my body. And then it went away and it was just that. It was just with that. But it's really, really scary when you don't know what's happening. And I had, and let me quote, lightning crotch and vaginal pain. Oh my, oh my. It's like quick stabbing pains that happen like in the cervix area, and sometimes it would like go down like the wall of the vagina, and it just hurts, you know, and you're like, oh my God, what's happening? And since it's your first pregnancy, for me, I was like, oh my God, it's so scary. What's gonna happen? And it is such the uncertainty that I don't like, but now I know that, and it wasn't like super intense where I was like, I have to lay down and like cry. It was just like, it's shocking. It's not that painful, but it's the fear of the pain that makes it worse. And those lightning crotch was definitely triggered by a full bladder. Let me tell you, it was just, if I had to pee and I couldn't pee right away, it was like shing, 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 sending a lot of shocks just because I think it was pressing on something that was around there. All right, so sleep and fatigue. This is another one because you think sometimes you're gonna sleep or whatever, but I had a slight fatigue. Like I was still able to function and do everything that I had to do. And it started around 5 weeks and I was kind of okay, but I was taking naps. And for me to take naps, you guys, like the world has to end. Like I don't take naps usually. And I was taking naps almost daily because I was that tired. That never happened before. Taking naps? Me taking naps? Hell no. I felt drained and heavy, and that's why I needed naps, because I needed to recover. And like growing babies is a lot of work. You guys, you're creating organs and you're creating life. So obviously nap time is a must. And then I had some insomnia on top of this. So around week 6, I started having some insomnia. And then I wasn't able to sleep at night, or I would wake up and I wouldn't be able to fall asleep again. And then around week 10 to 11, then I had that insomnia again, and then it went away. And I had cramps, you know, I was fatigued, I had a lot of headaches around that time. So that's why I wasn't able to fully fall asleep, or I was just waking up at night. And I was really, really hydrated. I was drinking a lot of water and I was making sure that I was hydrated. So it was really weird, but that can happen with change of hormones, growing babies, a lot of things. And it was just there. So another category that I'm going to talk about is heart and circulation, because there's a lot of things that are happening, especially when you're growing babies. Your blood volume is going to increase like a lot, like a whole lot, especially while growing 2 babies or more. It's going to be insane. I have an Apple Watch and I absolutely love it, you guys. It tracks everything, my heart rate and everything, but then I had spikes in heart rate. So sometimes my heart rate would go up to 150 for absolutely no reason whatsoever, just because it decided to go up. I can feel it, like the anxiety building up, and like I can feel like, oh my God, like this is kind of crazy. And the worst of it was when I was taking a shower. So when it was hot, and I was making sure that my shower wasn't too hot, but since like the heat was building up in the shower and everything else, my heart rate would just shot up through the roof, and I would have to like open the shower to get some fresh air in, because I needed to like relax and lower my heart rate, because this is just, it's scary, you guys. And following that, during my shower, when it shot up to 150, because I guess my blood pressure was going up, then I felt super dizzy, I had headaches, and then I started to nosebleed. Like that's how much it went up, you know? So, and my shower wasn't even that hot, you guys, and that's what I mean. And I checked with my doctor, and they were saying like, oh yeah, it happens. It's because, you know, your body's changing, the hormones, the increase in blood flow, and then your body temperature is higher. So if you're taking a shower, try to keep it under like 15 minutes, because you know, it's getting hot in there. Around week 6, and another time I think around week 9, I was taking a shower and I lowered the temperature of the shower, but it made me feel dizzy to the point where I almost passed out. Literally, you guys. So I had to open and like get out, and I sat on the floor while taking a shower. Like that's how much I had to get out and be careful with the heat and everything, because I was gonna pass out. And it's so scary. Like you don't want to fall. It's things that can happen, and I want to share with you guys so you can make sure that your shower or your bath is not too hot. And that's really important. Probably also because I was standing in the same spot for too long without moving, and the blood circulation is not happening as much. I started having leg cramps around week 10 to 11 in the morning, and I had headaches on and off from week 5 all the way to the end of my first trimester. Bladder and urination. One thing that I noticed is my bladder was getting full really, really quickly, and I had to pee so much all the time. I couldn't hold my pee for more than an hour and a half to 2 hours. The frequent urination was the worst at 8 weeks. So I went to Quebec City to see my family, and I wasn't able to hold it more than an hour. So we stopped probably like 6 times on the way there. And when I was holding it, because I didn't want to pee myself in the car, and it was giving me lightning crotch, and it was giving me a lot of pain and pressure on my abdomen and my uterus. So if you have to pee, go pee, don't hold it, because it's not good. It's not good. All right, so another thing to talk about is the mental and emotional aspect of pregnancy during the first trimester. So I had a lot of mood swings and irritability during the first trimester. Oh my God, my poor boyfriend, he was probably like, this girl is crazy. But no, it's the hormones, okay? So it started about at 5 weeks, and then it was on and off. But the worst is obviously the anxiety and the obsessive thoughts that I had during pregnancy. Everything that I was doing, I was like, oh my God, am I doing everything wrong? Am I hurting my babies? It was crazy. Like, the thoughts were running and running and running, and I was just scared about everything. I was Googling everything to the point of making me almost like crazy. It's just one of the things that happened throughout my first trimester. And then I guess after that, it kind of settled, because the first trimester is so scary and important, especially that we didn't have an ultrasound before 12 weeks. And also I would say anxiety and obsessive thoughts were worse because I had a little bit of spotting during my first trimester. Like, it was like a little one day, and it was like a little string, and I was like, oh my God, why does this happen? And this is scary. But apparently it can happen, and it doesn't mean that it's anything going wrong. And I checked with my provider, and they were like, no, it's fine. It's fine. So it was just me. But it was my first pregnancy, and I didn't know. And now I know. And that spotting in particular happened at week 9. So it wasn't like implantation bleeding or anything else like that. So that's why it was so scary at the time. And I have obviously other symptoms as well. So I had an increase in my smelling abilities. So, but it wasn't too much. Like, I wasn't like repulsed by some random smells, but I could definitely smell more. And I had this weird metallic taste in my mouth. Like, I would smell more, and then it tasted metallic a lot of the times. Weird. And that was noticeable from like week 5 and beyond. And after that, after the first trimester, was kind of gone. I had heartburn a little bit at week 10. It was very mild, but then it went away. I didn't have any more heartburn than that. And I also had a lot of back pain starting week 10. And then the worst was at the end of the first trimester, probably because the weight was like getting worse in the front. So it was at its peak, the pain, when I was laying flat on my back. And with all of that, obviously I had core weakness that I noticed around week 11. And that's probably what made my back pain even worse. All right, so that's pretty much it for my first trimester that I had. So from week 5 to week 12, I had a lot of symptoms. They weren't that bad, okay, you guys? It's just, I think the scary part of it is worse than the actual pains. And I was quite lucky that I didn't have that much symptoms, to be honest. And I'm glad that I wrote everything down so I can share with you guys now that it is there. But tell me down below, what was your worst symptoms that you had during your first trimester of pregnancy, even if it was with 1 baby or maybe with 2 babies or even more. Like, you guys share with me, were you carrying? How many babies were you carrying? I want to know. So anyways, I really hope that you enjoyed this video. Comment down below, you guys, what is your experience with all of that? I would love to know. And thank you so much for watching. Make sure to subscribe for more mommy content, cleaning content, lifestyle content, and everything that you want to see in between. And yeah, that's pretty much it. So subscribe, and thank you so much again for watching, and I will definitely see you in the next one. Bye, guys.